Good morning, Lagos, and welcome inside of Freshly Pressed here on Smooth Breakfast with Kayode.
Storms.
And joining us in the studio for a Feel Good Friday, we have Miss Ireti Bakare-Yusuf. Good morning, Miss Ireti.
Morning, Lagos.
Excellent. Great to have you here. Great to have you here.
Morning, guys.
Looking gorgeous with her thread. If you haven't seen her, because she was here yesterday, you should go up on our YouTube right now so you can feast your eyes on just a bright gorgeousness. We have also got Nwaji in the studio, aka Big Waj, aka the corporate MC, up on Twitter and Instagram. Good morning, Nwaji.
Good morning, Folu. How are you?
Excellent. All the better for hearing your booming voice this morning, which is always nice. And of course, Lagos and the rest of the world, please join us in conversation.
Yes, reach out to us on WhatsApp. It's 0809-444-0981. Also, we're Smooth 981 FM, Freshly Pressed 981. And you can at youtube.com/Smooth 981 FM Lagos.
Let's delve into the first story. The Independent Corrupt Practices and Commission has discovered about 9.8 billion naira belonging to the federal government that has been hidden in a bank, and they're grilling the MD. That's what the Punch newspaper is telling us. Now, the bank in question is Asto Savings and Loans PLC, and the bank claimed that is claiming at the moment that it doesn't have enough funds to return this money. So do you know what? We can give you some property of money. Now, they're also questioning a number of workers within the bank, which I find curious. But how does 9.8 billion naira mysteriously find its way?
And then you don't have it. No, it's not even that it finds its way, and then you don't have it to give
It's amazing.
back. But you sell, the government ordered for sales of properties, houses in particular, belonging to the federal government. And the sales of this were supposed to have receipts from the sale was supposed to have gone into TSA.
Yes.
They didn't. ASO put it into their own bank, which would not necessarily be a bad thing if you had it to give back. The sad thing now, the fact they're now saying, look, we're actually broke. We can't pay you back, but we're willing to give you properties in return. But I told you, I asked you to sell properties in the first place, bricks and mortar. I'm not. Oh gosh, I know I sound too hard sometimes, but I really think there to go. If there is end of, because this is really, really out of order. It's so wrong. And that's coming from the mouth of the managing director, Mr. Kunle Adedigba. Unfortunately, the story is not very long, so we don't have a lot of detail on it. It would be nice to know if somebody did ask him, so what actually happened to the 9.8 billion that we found hidden in your bank? Are you saying that it's not in cash, it's in assets, it's in what? And how many houses did you sell on our behalf? You know, who are the buyers? How quickly did they pay, etc., etc. But if you go down, if you go further down in this story, the one we have in front of us, however, it says in a related development, further investigation of the ad hoc committee uncovered that some persons who were allocated government properties made only part payment. So perhaps that's what the case is. We don't know, but he needs to actually say a lot more than sorry, due to paucity of funds, and this is a quote here, paucity of funds, therefore it is willing to swap some of its properties located in Abuja and Lagos in exchange for honestly, lock him up if that's the only excuse he's got. Lock him up. Forget us wasting money and taking him through the legal system. Just lock him up. Throw away the key. Let his relatives come and pay us back, and then free him.
All right. Thank you very much for that. Move on now to the next story from the Vanguard newspaper. Flood-related issues. A national disaster in 5 additional states. So the National Emergency Management Agency has now added to the list of states that they've declared a national disaster in, especially looking at the flooding situation. Adamawa, Taraba, Rivers, Kebbi, and Bayelsa. Do note that there were 4 other states earlier declared on the 17th of September, and they were Niger, Kogi, Anambra, and Delta. And it is a devastating flood. It's affecting food, it's affecting livelihood, it's affecting a lot of things across the nation. But Nwaji, what are your thoughts on the declaration, but be done going forward?
Well, there's a couple of things. I'm very NEMA coming out to make these declarations because it's important. But I think on a larger scale, for the global warming and the effects it's having on Nigeria needs to be had. Stations around flooding, especially in flood, look at the locations affected, has been going on for over 10 years in Nigeria. And there have been a lot of groups talking about how if we do not begin to build appropriately, to have to make sure we have the flood warning and things of that nature, or better yet, move away from floodplains, we will continue to see these issues. This is something that we cannot control. It's a direct result of global warming. The Earth is getting warmer. If you watch the international news or read anything, you see that a lot of protocols that indicate that we literally have 10 to 15 years to get it right with regards to making sure that the average global, the banks can no longer hold water in particular places, which is why these communities in these states are getting flooded. So it's about understanding where we relocate to some places that are just natural things, and these things need to be assessed.
Nwaji, thank you very much for that. Like, remember that you can send in your comments and questions to us. Don't forget that WhatsApp number is 084440981, or tweet at us using the Vanguard newspapers that a fresh crisis might be in it. Vires 189 billion naira for the INEC budget from the special intervention. They had earmarked the special intervention, and it was captioned into the 2000 Appropriation Act. But okay, so INEC, from your Nwaji, do you think we're going to see solution, bearing in mind that the elections
I mean, for when you begin to look at these numbers, I mean, we you know,
yeah, 100 the other day.
To do what? It's not as if, I mean, and we still don't have electronic voting, but you're now coming up with these things. There's no like huge campaigns that involve any kind of media or top of the line nature, but then to do what specifically?
Okay, let's look at the amount of, and because we do so many things manually, because we are not digitally inclined, because we can't even so you know, this point in our development, it does cost money to get that many individuals to do the job just one machine could do.
It costs money, but 189 billion across 91 registered political.
That's what they said, but it's not just the political parties; it's the number of polling stations.
Saying, the polling stations, like, what is it?
I agree with
120,000 polling stations. You guys need to be holding hands and singing Kumbaya and just say, let's have a peaceful election, and let's pray that nobody loses their life.
But very quickly again, I would like your comment on this. Somebody it's been said once or twice before that sometimes when we see these numbers, it's not as though the government actually has this money. They sometimes just put down numbers and then start searching for. We see very low percentages.
That's a further problem. Contributions begin to where frankly things like things like security get affected, infrastructure development gets affected because you need to find this money. So that's even a larger problem when you create these budgets and then you don't have the actual cash. You go and find it from at the stage of our development. You do not.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Ireti, let's move over to your story. That's ThisDay newspaper gives us the headline: Obasanjo endorses Atiku for president. It is a bromance. We do know this. We've seen these two together before. They're back in. So Obasanjo has endorsed his former deputy, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, who is the candidate of the People's Democratic Party for president. There was a closed-door meeting, and Obasanjo said in grand style, and we do have the full text of this, which you can go reading on this day newspaper, that listen, Atiku before betrayed him, not him, but the party, but since then he's shown remorse. He sprinkles in a bit of religious text there, but does go on to say things like, you understand the economy better than the incumbent. You've got business experience. You can make the administration business friendly, boost the economy, provide jobs. All buzzwords, but is this the direction to go? Monsieur, what are your thoughts on this? As you chuckle, articulated is another caption that's going around. He's been articulated.
Yes. I would prefer to say actually Obasanjo was pirouetting in favor of Atiku. That's those
Pirouetting.
Yes,
Right.
those with more sophisticated language.
The ballet.
Yes, would say. Forget articulated. It's more like pirouetting. Are we supposed to take, to dig out his quote? He said, God will not forgive me if I support Atiku for anything. He said, how can I be on the same side with Atiku to do what? Obasanjo asked. If I support Atiku, quote, right? Yes, if, you know, everybody started. I mean, now we have somebody's playing. What's the other one that always goes? Mercy. That's the one, you know, and it just goes on and on and on. Right now, we haven't been able to. Yes.
When I've offended me, I confess of my sins and really basis I from the past and do what is right, and it will be well with you.
Follow us with the voice.
Because
she's trying to do the she's on the pulpit right now, talking to the congregation.
Mr. Ireti, please, your thoughts.
That's what I'm saying, the absurdity of it all. I don't know about the rest of you. I can't take it seriously. However, what is important, though, all jokes apart, is think Obasanjo's and is going to us, because that's the rest of it doesn't matter. We honestly think that Obasanjo's endorsement, Obasanjo who the Nigerians, and this is four of us haven't forgotten stuff, but now this same Obasanjo who tried to push for a third term. I mean, third term, and we all said, no, sorry, love, you're not gonna break this law. We don't want you in. Go back to your farm and be a farmer.
I mean, he's still a political heavyweight in other states, so and
he's also considered a master strategist.
Yeah, but it's not about that. What I'm saying is, as individuals, because at the end of the day, we can all read, we can do all bad things on the radio as misery does that, but get to that voting box. Obasanjo is enough to sway. I think Nigerians are short, they're shallow. Evers Atiku, can I just say at this, they have a president.
So long may continue.
Very much. The story comes to you, and this one also comes from the new Telegraph. Nigeria $1 trillion investment to modernize energy infrastructure. This has come from Vice President the federal government, $1 trillion, and basically it's for national energy and climate process at the National Summit at the Presidential Villa.
Okay, so we need 1 trillion. The question is, has Nigeria got 1 trillion to invest in to modernize its energy infrastructure? Prof, I know what you're telling us. Do we have the money? More to the point, he actually said our energy and energy-related policies are not only geared towards energy supply security, but to also mitigate global. Just what we need. So what can we? It's not about not foreseeing it. It's just that do we have the money?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ireti, for that one. Coming back to you with this one, Nwaji, from the new Telegraph, it said cried out their losses as the grounding of the labor unions entered the, and so far they're talking about downsizing. They're talking about cutting losses generally from what has happened from strike that happened 2 days ago. Your thoughts about this?
I didn't get in trouble for it.
Get in trouble.
And you're going to come for me, especially
you've got a big chest.
Especially with the comments you made yesterday. Now, as someone who's all for labor relations and unions and everything else, I do not believe on a fundamental level in physical disruption to people's freedom of movement and freedom to do business.
Okay.
So now when you talk about the particular losses that have been incurred by the airlines and the decisions that the airlines would have to make as a result of the penalties that they're paying because of the closure of this particular airport, I like to always look at it from the passenger point of view, because it's the sheer velocity of people that are going through the airport who also would have incurred cost with losses that they have to incur for missing meetings or particular transfer of goods or services and things of that nature, and nobody wants to speak about that. So you throw up the numbers of 300 million, 62 million that have been lost by the airlines and further penalties they have to pay. But how about the hundreds, the thousands of passengers that would have gone through these various airlines during that particular period, and how much money would they have lost? Now, I appreciate what the unions are trying to accomplish in things, and I know, Folu, you had mentioned about this is a good time to come in and step in, but I also think in trying to do that, you are also punishing people that have nothing to do with your fight. But it now becomes a white-collared versus blue-collared kind of argument, because the unions are fighting for the average day person, the blue-collared individual, and the people who happen to patronize majority of these airlines happen to be white-collared individuals as well. So it now becomes a classist conversation, but at the same time, these are still people who have responsibilities, who have things that they have to do. Just we are vying individuals to have decisions in life have agreed to. Can we also just try not to physically disrupt movement, because people have things that they have to do?
There's no way to avoid that.
I think there is a way.
How?
It's a conversation. Come to a table.
They're not talking to them. They dismiss them from their work.
I understand that.
So,
but you cannot now physically inconvenience.
It's not physically. They are protesting. So it's up to the police or the authorities to say, all right, protesters on this side.
No, that's not it. But
Whatever
when you
on
shut
that
down
side.
the airport, you have completely thrown off my plans.
Then sorry, collateral damage.
I'm a collateral damage.
Yes, collateral damage. Yes.
Well, we need to go over to the
Collateral
messages that are
damage.
coming through this morning.
Thank you
Up
very
on
much for
YouTube, we've got this one in from Chris Andrew, who says the issue with OBJ started when he rejected when the
Buhari
rejected his
rejected him.
third term
Yes.
bid. Yes, indeed. And Funke O says maybe OBJ should have done a third term. The country hasn't improved very much since he left. Wow, it's very serious.
Shade.
While up on WhatsApp, we have Moj from Apapa, who says, Miss Ireti, your eulogy statement from Tinubu, you eulogize statements from Tinubu and ask us not to take OBJ seriously, please. What's the difference between OBJ and Tinubu?
Huge difference,
It
my
says,
love.
let's
time.
finish. It says they're all the same. Please, let's get articulated. LOL. All right, we see that. I like where we're coming from there. Amos Akpan says, but why is traveling to America important? Which court or investigative body has indicted Atiku with evidence? Obasanjo sold us the corruption story of Atiku. Buhari should have indicted Atiku if there was real evidence. For me, Nigerians are once again offered two persons who are not that qualified for the job to choose from. Very sad situation. I'm not that excited. You're offered about 20-something persons, so please, Amos, don't put out that narrative that there are only two. While Dele says collateral damage with shocked face. I think in the tone that Nwaji said it, but let's move on to our final story.
Okay, so our final story is from Punch newspaper, and this one comes to you, Mr. Ireti. It says, Ekiti Assembly removes Speaker, Deputy, suspends 12 lawmakers, and well, the story goes on and on.
And it goes, oh gosh. Well, to be honest, look, Fayose is going. They're trying to put their assembly back together. Some have been sacked. Others, what's his name? The former speaker was accused of betraying the Ekiti populace. The Ekiti people, yes, by holding a secret plenary last month with other suspended members to approve 10 billion supplementary budget sent by Fayose. So, and that's what's in the story, by the way, Lagos. That's not Misery alleging this. Now, none of this surprised me because, Fayose has been something of a, and there's something about the man that you can't, it's not about liking him. His style of play, it's quite an interesting one. Yes, it's quite an interesting one. I can't think of the right word for it right now. But, so he's about to leave, fire me, as one, didn't it? Fayemi won
Yes.
the became Ekiti. And I hope this time Fayemi doesn't let down the people of Ekiti as well. I actually have to say this because Fayemi, I think, was talking at them. And I always say this, people don't realize there's a difference of talking at somebody and talking with somebody. And so if I'm from Ekiti, if I'm in the Ekiti Assembly and I'm speaking in this tone, I am talking at them. If I'm in the Ekiti Assembly and I start speaking, this is what we're going to do, or I start speaking in Yoruba, then I'm discussing with them because they're able to respond and we're able to have a conversation. So I hope Fayemi does it, because that was part of his time. Now he's been given a second time. As they understood him, but the guy is a bit of a, I don't know, not so much an area, but he's a bit of a downfall conductor.
Wow, that is your
it's
opinion,
not, yeah, but it's not pejorative. No, it's not a pejorative. It isn't. It is not, because human beings are downfall conductors.
Okay, so why? Then are you...
Downfall is a public transport.
Okay.
All right.
No, I'm
and
asking
they have conductors.
What are his similarities to that? That's
his behavior.
Okay.
His behavior, and he does behave like that. I just said Obasanjo was pirouetting because that was in English and it's a ballet term.
It wasn't pejorative. What
it's not pejorative.
Is not becoming of downfall conductors. What behavior? That's what I'm waiting for. What behavior? You see.
Then the NBC would come at us.
There you go. So
no. But that's because Nigerian politicians and the NBC are all very sensitive. You know,
all right.
Baby like people.
Thank you very much.
So you're the one that invited me to go there. You invited me to go there.
Terms.
But it's not derogatory. I'm sorry. A bus, calling somebody a bus conductor is not derogatory.
Fair enough.
Yes, it's cheeky, but it's not derogatory.
Let's go to the messages to round up.
Yeah, go to the messages.
We're done with this
we've
story.
Moved from pirouetting to downfall.
sent in a message on WhatsApp to say passing the PIGB and other petroleum bills into law would be a very good start to raising that $1 trillion for energy infrastructure that we need. Many funds have frozen there for years. Well, thank you for taking us back there. I do believe the rest of the comments are all focused on the bromance that is brewing. Big E from K2 says, the cinema main politics has started. PVP is an extended family of a poor-telling novella. I knew for once that when Atiku would run for president, OBJ would support him. The politricks of Nigeria. God help us all. And officially, we are done. Thank you very much to everyone who sent in messages. I think Ibi sent in this last one to say, I wish other parties like Donald Duke and Mogalu would come together so we could vote out these old recycled leaders. Thank you, Ibi. But do follow our analysts up online. You can find Miss Ireti as CC Oge Lagos.
Not pirouetting.
Not pirouetting and not conducting.
Not conducting.
Just living her life, they say. And you can Twitter and Instagram as the corporate MC with a K. Coming up next here inside of Smooth Breakfast at 8:15, we'll be talking sports inside the locker room. Good morning.
Get quick access to loans from Page Financial.
But he actually used to be a boss. He used to work in